not escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA. The new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-31.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Hit me again. Put me live. Second hour on this 4th day of May 2014. Coming up, the Tosh Plumlee interview, integrated from the 2 interviews earlier in the week that are so bombshell with the latest info that's coming out. We're going to air some excerpts of that and get into other news as well. Where to begin? I haven't got into this news yet. The new issue of the magazine is out, 1776 Part 2. Buy them in bulk at cost at InfoWarsStore.com. And in it, we get into the latest on the Bundy Ranch, but the BLM's activities in Texas and other areas. But here's a new article from AP. Feds consider taking Alaskan tribal land into trust. The U.S. Department of Interior announced this week that it will consider taking Alaskan tribal land into trust. The move could lead to pockets of Indian country where tribal courts and governments would have authority to create their own laws and justice systems, the Anchorage Daily News reported. So now they're announcing the feds are taking it over so the Indians can have their own law. See, that's selling a lie. They've done this in other states. They end up taking the tribal authority away. Currently, the only Indian county community with reservation in the state is in southeast Alaska. The state opposes the move. Well, who even needs a stinking state, ladies and gentlemen? So get the current issue of InfoWars magazine. Get it out to everyone you know. I meant to talk about this earlier. I'll try to get into it later after the Plumlee interview. But grandfather launches smart gun push after Sandy Hook shooting. Oh, and of course, guaranteed he's tied into Bloomberg. But the whole thing is, come on, let me have a biometric gun. Don't say no. You know, after Sandy Hook, why doesn't the NRA want this? No, make your stupid biometric guns. The point is they'll end up not working. The government can scramble them. The government can make them obsolete. They can electromagnetic pulse take them out. And a lot of the big systems coming out, the government's going to have the codes to, just like with iPhones and stuff, to not let you videotape in public. How about not let you shoot? So smart meters, smart houses, smart cars, smart this, smart that. It's all about the back doors built into everything. And the GOP's come out and said, as Holder said a month ago, or almost a month ago, they want to make all the other guns be banned and make you go to these biometric smart bracelet garbage deals. So that's the new big anti-gun push. GOP fears executive order on biometric guns. Senator Cornyn is warning the Obama administration to not issue an executive order requiring that all new guns be made with biometric technology such as fingerprint recognition or bracelets. Cornyn raised the issue in a letter to Attorney General Eric Holder, who in testimony earlier this month highlighted biometric bracelets. Well, I heard on local 590 radio earlier this week, they were covering it on the news, and I pulled it up. You know, the grandfather that runs this, I mean, come on, you're not against brain chips, it's for the troops. Well, come on, you're not against biometric guns, it's for a grandpa. I mean, it's for the kids of Sandy Hook. Well, I heard he supposedly claims he's been threatened and he's not going to release the gun now, as if there aren't all these other companies that already have it for decades. You know, because of the evil anti-gunners, while they were mean to a grandpa. Stunt, that's what I call, that's my opinion. So that's where all of this is going, and they just always package it in this sicky sweet stuff and to target people that aren't conscious, that aren't aware of what's going, that aren't aware of what's happening. The truth is 167 people died in 2013 in what's called mass shootings. And more than half of them were gangbangers shooting each other. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. People say, what, is that okay? No. But it's most so-called mass shootings, you know, and all the rest of it is people killing each other in criminal-related stuff. It was 60-something. I forget the exact number, I think 65, 66, that actually died in school shootings that wasn't gang-related. And that's a tragedy, and it's terrible. One man dies, it's a tragedy. 10,000 die, it's a statistic, as Stalin said. And the system knows that. But deer kill hundreds, honeybees kill hundreds. I know I harp on this. This is what we've got to get out to people. Literal peanut allergies kill more people than terrorists and mass shootings. So it is a red herring meant to frame all of us that are pro-gun through guilt as the murderers. We're going to break on this Sunday edition, this 4th day of May 2014. We're going to come back on the other side, and we're going to get into the Tosh Plumlee interview. Tell your friends and family, tune in. This is important. Globalist social engineers are not just targeting us with propaganda. They are manipulating our genetics. We are being targeted at every level by estrogen mimickers that lower our testosterone and other hormones and natural compounds that the body needs. After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic super male vitality formula sourced from powerful organic herbs and then concentrated for maximum potency. Super Male Vitality was developed to activate your body's own natural processes instead of using synthetic chemicals. Super Male Vitality by InfoWars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended dose. For a limited time, we are offering 15% off Super Male Vitality at InfoWarsLife.com to introduce you to this powerful supplement. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today to secure your Super Male Vitality at InfoWarsLife.com.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
It was almost as if it were a planned implosion. It just pancaked.
Either you were with us or you were with the terrorists.
But I also believe that a lot of gun owners would agree that AK-47s belong in the hands of soldiers, not in the hands of criminals. Guns will be taken, and no one will be able to be armed. We will take all guns.
For many of the police and guard troops, it is an uncomfortable job to do this in an American city.
Global governance at last. Is it one world? The central bankers in charge. But aren't we all just living and dying for what the central banks do?
As for me, give me liberty or give me death!
Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
Thank you for spending part of your Sunday with us. I hope you've had your friends and family tune in because over much of this hour, you're about to hear excerpts of an interview I did last Thursday on the weekday show. I don't usually re-air stuff on the Sunday show unless it's Ron Paul or somebody really big like Rand Paul, or back when we got a Ted Cruz interview. But this is really big, or a Viggo Mortensen interview, stuff like that. There I'm name dropping. This is really important. This guy was a major CIA contractor going back to the 50s. He still is. He's been vetted in Congress, been given gag orders before. He just exposed what really happened at Benghazi and what really went on there, that it was a hit of the ambassador so that they could cover up what was happening. Government narcotics running. He personally flew 40 tons of cocaine into the country. That's been declassified. This is Tosh Plumlee, and excerpts of my lengthy hour-long interview that I did with him last Thursday. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen. You want to know what happened in Benghazi? This guy's risking his life. He's been told the Justice Department's about to subpoena him, good old Eric Holder, to gag him, to shut him up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not theory. This is fact. Here is Robert Tosh Plumlee. Now, going to Robert Tosh Plumlee, goes by Tosh. Most of you already know who he is. It's just that he's one of the biggest public whistleblowers out there. And he says if they gag him, as they've said the subpoena's coming, this time he will not shut up. And Tosh, A, why aren't you going to shut up? And then B, where do you see all this going? And then C, why aren't you going to shut up? And then D, where do you see all this going? And then E, where do you see all this going? And then F, where do you see all this going? And then G, where do you see all this going? And then H, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And then I, where do you see all this going? And And then C, any other points you didn't make yesterday before we go to questions?
Well, I don't feel I should be threatened. I mean, if they had sort of left me alone, perhaps I wouldn't even went into this. The Benghazi questions were originated that from information that came from a NATO source over in Afghanistan who was working that project after he'd been transferred from working the Mexico Task Force project. And in that, they found out about weapons. And he contacted me, and then that started the questions about the 11 Benghazi questions I had out there. That evidently created some problems in D.C. and started them wanting to know where my contacts were. I pulled the information that I was a journalist and would not divulge those contacts. They went undercover, went down for a few months, and then came back up again, threatening me. This came out after your program, and two sources, one military and one civilian source, contacted me a few days ago and told me that I'd better watch what I was doing because the DOJ was in process of going to issue a subpoena on me. The reason that I decided to make contact was I know what happens when you're subpoenaed to go back and testify to a committee. The nature of what I'm dealing with and what I've dealt with in the past, it would be immediately classified top secret committee sensitive, and that is where the gag comes in, because at that point, if I continue to relay those questions and ask for answers, then I would be in violation of a national security statute and subject to 5, I think it was 20 years, they told me, in a federal prison. I went and talked to an attorney about this, and then he told me to be extremely careful. And then I decided, well, the only thing that I can do is, again, try to go out through the Sunshine Law and put this all out before the fact. And so that's the reason for me in the last few days going on all these programs and talking about this. What do I expect to happen? I expect that the political powers that be will try to turn this political and try to say that I am trying to undermine Mrs. Clinton's election campaign, which is not the truth. So, and I've already been told that that's what that particular group, I'll call it that way, are saying, is that Plumlee has been paid by others to go out and undermine the Clinton bid for the president.
It shows they're totally disconnected from reality, and their staffers didn't even show it to them. A very serious whistleblower letter. Let's expand on this now, then. Clearly, they don't want your questions to be looked at, so they want to question you, send you the subpoena that's basically a gag order. But undoubtedly, the Justice Department is, A, listening now and watching now, and B, will be creating a transcript later for Eric Holder and Hillary Clinton to read. This is the kind of stuff that will come across their desk. What do you want to say to the NSA mop-up crew and the rest of them that are listening to this?
Well, I would take it out of politics. These people, there's good people in the NSA, but there's also gatekeepers, political gatekeepers that have been put into all these organizations, mainstream media and every place else. So the good people that are actually working in our government and working for the people can't do their job. In other words, this has been a slow process of eroding. I call it America's slow coup. In other words, by infiltrating political cronies into strategic positions to be gatekeepers and suck up any derogatory information like gun running, international gun running, and other matters, and keep that from hitting on the mainstream media. Mainstream media is infiltrated with all kinds of government gatekeepers to stop information from getting to the American people so that they can make wise decisions. So I thought with my background and my experience, I can see it happening. We're losing our freedom by small degrees, gradually.
And by the way, Mr. Plumlee, they are hiding the evil in plain view. They announced last year the, quote, legalization of CIA and others inside media, putting out psyops and disinformation. Now, that's always been going on. There's the headline, U.S. repeals propaganda ban, spreads government-made news.